Markovic is on the fucking agenda.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Talking Reds, Neil Atkinson and Paul Cope. We're going to start with the sort of thing that makes Neil Atkinson and Paul Cope really happy. Marcelo Bielsa's press conference last night. Now, I am very anti-Leeds United in all of its forms.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more than to be given a stick to beat Leeds United with. But this has never, for me, been a stick to beat Leeds United with. And then last night, when Bielsa does, basically, it's meant to be, they're calling it a press conference, but he basically gave a presentation and went, this is everything. Have you seen much of this?
No, I haven't seen it. I've only
okay, so he gave this presentation for you and for the audience and for Paul here, so it wasn't really a press conference, but there were no real questions anyone could ask because he was just spending over an hour answering everything. So he gives this thing and he says that basically they watched all 50. He's got a team of analysts who watch all 50 of Derby's last 50 games. They've got the videos. Each time they watch it, it takes 4 hours for them to do the full analysis on every aspect of it. Brilliant. They know, for instance, when people do this before they take a corner, they try to work out what that means. They've got the answers
love
for that.
It. I will do it. What I love about that, I always think that. Yeah. Just figure that out.
Yeah. Figure that out. He said, though. He then went. So we do all that. We do that for everyone. Half the goals we've conceded this season have been to set pieces. And that's the essence of this. Is what's brilliant about it is he keeps basically, and all the way through, he keeps underscoring it. There's a really good piece by Phil, I wish I could remember his name, from the Yorkshire Post that I read on it. It keeps being underscored with him going, and it's mostly a waste of me time and everyone's time. And all the way through this, that's basically what this thing's about, is the futility of his own and these people's existences for an hour. When he got all these journalists to go to Leeds, for him to go through this huge presentation, for him to basically go. There was this great story he told where it was something like he got beat in the Copa del Rey final when he was with Bilbao. He got beat Copa del Rey final by Guardiola's brilliant Barcelona side. And after the match, he got beat 3-0, and he brought Guardiola in and said, show Guardiola everything he'd done as prep. And Guardiola was like, both amazed and aghast, and said something like, supposedly, you know my team better than I do. To which Bielsa said, well, it was useless though, wasn't it? We got beat 3-0. And there's loads of stuff we talk about footy managers doing, Paul, and the idea of tactics, which is obviously important, and preparation, which is obviously so important, and all this sort of stuff, but there's just also simultaneously a limit to its usefulness, emphasised by Bielsa going, this is mostly a waste of my time and these people's time.
I'm not sure I could have loved this any more than I did before Neil told me this update. And I even like the fact that it was like a presentation where he's just gone, right.
Full PowerPoint hit.
So I've said to Neil before we start recording, how these things usually go is, in the modern world, whether it's football or politics or scandal with celebrities, is someone says something about someone else and it's a scandal. And half of the people are up in arms about it. And you picture Lampard's face now.
Yep.
Very, very serious. This is very, very serious business. And then what the other people do is deny it and say, well, we didn't do it. Or they argue back about it. And what I think is brilliant about this is Bielsa's just gone. Because I actually saw his interview live before they played. And he's with a translator. Yeah. And that's when he's first going, oh, yeah, we did it. Because even then, most people would go, like, when you think about people go, well, Mourinho was doing it. Mourinho would never admit to it. Mourinho's like, well, nah, not me, mate. Bielsa firstly goes, oh, yeah, it was me. And then does a full-on presentation where he goes, not only was it me, but get on this. I do it to everyone. And it's shit. It gets better and better as the story unfolds.
And it's also wonderfully true. That's my favourite thing about it, is that it's all wonderfully true. Yeah, to do it. Broadly, to be honest with you, I think I'm wasting these lads' time, my own time.
Yeah. There's a whole team of people here who just, like, basically their day-to-day life is just a waste of time. Yeah. But it just helps me sleep at night. That's it. That's what the intention of all of this is.
For me, it's simultaneously the greatest example of managerial leadership I've ever seen, and possibly the worst. Do you know what I mean? When you've got your book coming out and all this sort of stuff, with the way in which one lives one's life and makes decisions around leadership and career. Because at the back of the room, he had all of his coaching staff. You know, they were all sat there at the back of the room, and occasionally he'd draw on one to say something or something according to the thing I read. And I just think it's hysterical. He's basically sitting there and going, yeah, to be honest with you, these lads, they've got it rough, and by the way, it's a waste of the time.
Honest, I feel like scrapping my book and doing a whole new one now, just about Bielsa and I just think it's incredible to, even on the set pieces, to basically go, we still concede loads. Yeah. Like I don't know what to say to you. Like it's basically crap. Do you know the thing I'd love to see now? Lampard's reaction. Because how can you do anything other than go, I mean...
Yeah,
I actually feel sorry for you now, mate, because this all sounds horrendous.
But I think they're all I think to an extent they're almost all like that. I don't think I think we love the idea that we see Klopp dancing and all this sort of stuff, and we think, oh Jurgen, he's dead cool there, or some people might not think he's cool, but think it's not like he looks stressed out.
Yeah.
But there'll be times Jurgen's in his own kitchen in his house thinking, I don't know enough about this. Whatever that matter is, there's something I just don't know enough about.
Yeah.
And then there must be either someone to say to them, or in their own minds eventually go, I need to not worry about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a game of football.
Yeah.
There's going to be 11 lads there and 11 lads there, and they're going to meet up. And I think my boys are better in general, in most positions. I'd back my lads.
Yeah.
And that can sound reductive because obviously all the work is important one way or another. But simultaneously, you can understand there's days where managers just go, well, what was the point of the previous week working on all this, boys?
I know, we're in danger. We're just undoing everything. The whole house of cards could come down here.
Absolutely.
But this is the thing where... ultimately, and you see like the likes of Sam Allardyce get criticised for this over the years and stuff like this, but ultimately, if you take any manager in the Premier League and you say to him, you can have Sergio Aguero up front in your team, he'd go, that'll help.
He's really good at scoring.
We'll give you Van Dijk at the back and Aguero up front, and do you reckon that'll improve your team, regardless of whatever you do? I'd be like, yeah. Like that. I mean, that's fine. We've all played five-a-side. We've all played footy at some level. You know what that's like. You're playing against a team. You can do what you want. If they've got a boss goalie and a boss striker, you're fucked. That's it. You're done. And we can get into the... And that's when I saw Lampard, and I was like, he's right. Because he was saying about well, if you're telling me the tactics aren't important, then Klopp, Pochettino and Guardiola are just dead lucky. And that is simultaneously right. At the same time and they have amazing players that are brilliant and make them look really good as well. And I'm sure if you ask Klopp, honestly, be like, oh yeah.
I think he's quite...
Like you should have seen me Mainz team. It was good. I mean, the tactics were good in that, but we weren't a juggernaut top of the league because I couldn't spend £70 million on Virgil van Dijk.
They were all lads who used to get a game, or sometimes I'd get a game ahead of some of them. That's what they're like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that there is, obviously so much of it is it's thought through. And I think for me, this is where I think that more and more, and I think you've got to be careful because, like for instance, Benitez was a genius, and when Benitez was being a genius, you think about the game in a Benitez way because that's almost your main point of football reference. At the minute we've got Klopp, and where I think Klopp's absolutely brilliant, genuinely think he's brilliant, is in the long-term planning. I think that's where there's true brilliance actually, with the idea that all the work he's doing in pre-season over the summer, the way in which he's targeting players and working internally within the club, but even putting that to one side, once he's got them, I think the way in which he's paid, and I think that, for instance, this season currently, as it stands to me, looks like a magnificent bit of pacing. That he's worked everything out to absolute perfection, and that. Bielsa's talking about the stuff that you do 3 days before the game and trying to get that as spot on as possible. Yeah. But Klopp there, and Bielsa will do the same thing, and Benitez will do the same thing. But where I think Klopp is, I think outshining any other manager in the league at the minute. And I think Guardiola is the best coach in the division, by the way, in terms of making elite footballers and making them better. Yeah. But I think what Klopp's got absolutely right, and I think he's taken more gambles than we give him credit for, is the way in which he's paced this whole season.
Yeah, definitely. And we've talked about evolution of football teams in more serious shows, haven't we? And that's what he's great at, and you can almost see. And I would guess he's for an owner of a football club, he's a dream because he comes in and he says it's not just like the 5-year plan. This is what I do to football teams over this period of time, and this is how it changes, and this is how they get dead good. And even we've not really talked about this, but the 8 games in December wins. Yeah, that's a 3-year. But this is how we get to that. Yeah, I know now. He comes in the first year and goes, "Well, he was stunned by this. I mean, this is incredible. Like I've never seen anything like this." And then he goes, "Well, to win the league, you've got to box that. So how do we box that? Well, we can't go off at the start like we've been doing. Yeah. We need to manage." And that's what we're seeing now. And obviously, we don't know how the end of the season unfolds yet. But that's what this is all working towards, is exactly what you're saying. I think you saw that last season, for instance, we were great in December and January, and then we had a little bit of a stutter, and then we got back on and we improved. I think this year the aim is obviously not to have the stutter. It's easy to say, that would always be the aim. Yeah. But it's, I think that the year before, the January before, we didn't have a bit of a stutter. I think we fell off a bit of a cliff. Yeah. To be honest with you, in January we were doing really well. He lived the first Christmas period. Yeah. We were doing really well, and then there's the 2-2 at Sunderland. A couple of weeks later, there's the mad 3-2 at home to Swansea. In between there was the awful FA Cup games against lower division sides where even the change teams looked sluggish. There was the Southampton League Cup games, which were a nightmare, and we were just pouring both legs. And it was as though the whole team just was shattered. You just killed us in December. Yeah. And he's gone, okay,
I'll learn from this one. And then last season, you see the improvements. There's the 4-3 against Man City around the 13th of January.
Yeah.
And then, but then we go to Swansea and we drop points, but then we get back and we get moving again relatively quickly. And I think that, you know, again, learn from that. What do we take from that one? What do we do differently? And I think that's the, you know, that idea of learning from where you've been is for me, I think there's lots of managers, lots of people in all walks of life, and I hope I'm good at it, and I might not be, who aren't very good at learning from what didn't go so well, and will presume it's other people's shortcomings that have led to it, and therefore make massive changes. With Klopp, you feel as though he's gone, all right, my job is to look after these boys and get them through periods like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fascinating because even when you talk about those past seasons and you think about the fixture congestion and all of that, I don't think it's any coincidence at all that we've gone out of the 2 lesser cups straight away.
Yeah.
Like, I just... obviously, he was not going to admit this out loud because he's not Bielsa, but I think if you got him privately, he'd be like, oh, yeah. I mean, I've figured out that for us to beat Man City to a league and to go far in the Champions League, which is what everyone wants, I can't do the other 2.
Or if I do them, I've got to almost do them with 11 changes.
I've got to do them with these other lads, and if they get through, fine. But I'm not risking these other fellas. Like, I'm just not doing it. So, yeah, if we go out, fine. Because now, and this is the funny thing about the title run-in, when you look at our fixture list and you look at City's, and they've got the big squad and they can cope with it, yeah. But when they're going, but you'll slip, you might, because I think, well, our biggest risk is injuries. And you start looking at it and go, well, you can rest up, can't you? Loads of times. There's loads of times now for resting, which, yeah, great.
Got loads of preview stuff coming today where we'll be talking about the Alexander-Arnold injury. Somebody made up some stuff about Mane saying that we're going to win the league and we're great and that. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it, really?
Well, Neil told me this before we started recording. I keep saying I don't really watch the news anymore because it's just rubbish. But I mean, just making stuff up.
Mad stuff going on in Parliament, mate.
Oh, I dipped into that last night. Fantastic, love it. Well, that just sums up what I was saying before, doesn't it? Just loads of people don't know what they're doing, running around shouting things, and then denying emphatic, it. Yeah. But this is a good tip for everyone. Be emphatic. When you don't know what you're talking about, be emphatic.
And then if someone questions you, be more emphatic. Yeah. Find a way to go on.
Yeah, if there was a simple explanation of how we've ended up where we are in a country, that's it. But yeah, the fact that that's just been made, and I actually really liked it. There was debates in my WhatsApp groups the other night with Blue Noses and City fans. You'll definitely choke now, and I was like, I don't think we will, because even the tone of the and I'm disappointed they're blag quotes, but isn't it mad how people just make up this stuff?
On here it says Lazar Markovic is still kicking around.
I know. It's
last played for us in May 2015. I saw him score for us in a pre-season friendly at Tranmere.
Yeah.
I think I might have dreamt it. I was going out a lot of the time.
Markovic is getting to a point now where is he real?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, did he exist?
Do you remember the brilliant thing he did at Sunderland?
Do you know what I remember about that more than anything else? Do you remember there was a clip going around of one of the Sunderland players?
Yeah, I can't remember his reaction.
It was just like, fucking hell, what was that? How did he do that?
Yeah.
And it was one of them where you're like, this lad's got some talent. But I think that was was that the end?
That was towards the end. That was April 2014.
So after that, he's just got, as everyone looked at each other and gone, never going to get better than that.
Well, I think there's like a really weird moment where we're at Arsenal away, and I think it's 0-0 at the time, and he tries to square it to put Sterling in when he could shoot. And he makes a mess of the pass, and we go on and we lose the game quite badly, and we're dreadful. But we were in through the middle, and he's in one-on-one with the keeper. Yeah. And he sort of does the right thing, but the way he does the right thing is by not getting it right, it looks like he's not had the courage to go and take the shot on. Yeah. But he probably does the right thing, but he does it so badly wrong, and Sterling can get nowhere near it. Yeah. And then Arsenal go on and win the game, and it kills our top 4 hopes. Yeah. And it's like that is like some sort of turning point moments in not just his career, but loads of little aspects around Liverpool. Yeah. And when you stop to think about it now, that's really almost in a Bielsa-like way. Like, well, that's nothing to do with Brendan Rodgers, not really. No. That's nothing to do with anyone other than Markovic. And then how he's not bounced back from that is... Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
Well, I think there's a film to be made about Markovic, isn't it? Like,
there's a lot of nothing happening though, Paul.
Because it's funny when we do these things. I know, that is true. When we do these things and you get an agenda, and whenever Markovic pops onto an agenda probably once every 3 or 4 months, and all that happens is it's like further away since he last played football, isn't it? So I'd love to see sort of a day in the life of Lazar Markovic. What's he doing?
He did all right at Hull when he went on loan.
Well, this is what I don't get.
He did all right.
The thing I don't get about it is he's a good footballer. Like when we signed him, the excitement, people saying, "Oh, well, like the new Ronaldo. You've got such a catch here," and it's like, well, he must still be able to play footy. Surely someone somewhere can use him in their team and he's better than what they've got. Surely.
I'm just worried about him. If he wants to come and do a show, he's more than welcome.
Come on, Lazar.
Come on, Lazar, come and do a show. Listen, loads of stuff coming up today. There's about to be a preview video pulled together, which will have the inserts in and all of that sort of stuff, so that's exciting. So that's to come. Preview video to come very soon, out on the YouTube channel. What else is there? Weekenders getting recorded today. I'll be out first thing tomorrow morning, 7 AM. Something for you to listen to on your way in. Friday show is getting recorded and released today. It's very confusing, not least for the contributors, when I invite them to come and do the Friday show. And then there's that embarrassing moment where one of them gets the day wrong and all of this, and I'm like, it's not my fault, it's not your fault, it's my fault, I've called it the Friday show. But the point of it is that it sets up your weekend. It's going to be fantastic, having a good long look at Arsenal versus Chelsea, and there's going to be a gutter at 12 o'clock. I've seen Rob's agenda, astonishingly, it's got Nabil Fekir on, who'd have guessed. All of that is to come right the way through the Anfield Wrap. You know where we are, theanfieldwrap.com. If you want to subscribe, it's £5 a month. It's very much worth doing. The point isn't that you listen to everything. The point is you find what you like and you listen to it. Netflix does not expect you to watch everything on Netflix. It really doesn't.
Whenever you say,
busier than Bielsa's lads.
Whenever you ever say this, I always think, is there someone out there going, really? Like every day they're just trying to get through hours and hours of Netflix. And every time Netflix adds something new, they're like, fucking hell, lads, I can't keep up.
So there's a friend, we was chatting away, sorry, that was meant to be the end of the video. So we were chatting away on something on a rider or something, and what came out was someone had got a friend of a friend on American Netflix or something on an American streaming service. There's all the Coronation Streets, and someone had started from the beginning.
I've heard this.
Someone's chosen to start from the beginning on Corrie.
Imagine that. Imagine, like, it's changing. As I go through it, like,
it literally goes from black and white to colour.
1920.
1950. It's about, I think it's the late 1950s is the first Corrie where Ken Barlow's in it.
That's incredible. So imagine that conversation. When you go to people who've watched it already, how many series are there? You've got a long way to go, mate.
Well, after they've broken them into series off the back of years, so this person's like sort of stuck around series 6, episode 93, and moving right the way forward.
Fantastic. And do you know what's great about it as well, though? Ken Barlow's still in it?
Yeah, hangs on. Hangs on to the bitter end.
All the way.
William Roach. It's been the William Roach Talking Reds. See you in a bit.